Welcome back in, y'all. We are Black Girls Talking TV, where we bring the group chat to life and discuss all your favorite TV shows. Today, we're dipping back into Survivor. So make sure you hit that notification bell and subscribe so you can stay tuned to all of our recaps. We are on week 2, so let's get it. I'm Victoria. I am a psychologist in New York and Illinois.
And I'm Kamaria. I am a lawyer in the DC area and a pop culture writer. So we had a nice episode 2. I enjoyed it. I knew that the say we called it last week, Say and Mary. It was like it was gonna be between them and Kevin. Kevin was her op. I said it. I said it. I was like, he's gonna be the undoing, but brother man, Kevin. No, what is his name? I have to call him Kevin.
Cedric, the
Cedric.
surgeon.
Yeah,
Yes.
he came through for a homegirl. He came through. So I was excited to see this result.
Absolutely. Yeah. I literally as soon as Kevin went to work, I said, we called it. He didn't know what he was doing. I do think though he thought that he could match Say in terms
Mhm.
of garnering power from everybody, and it didn't go the way that he planned at all. And I don't think that he was understanding the bond that Cedric and Say had. Because remember I said like Cedric is not going to be the one to flip on Say. He's
You
gonna stick with
did say
Say.
that.
And
You did
sure
say
as we
that. You
know,
did say that. No, and that was a good read. That was a good read because, like, for me, it almost makes me think like, what was your bond with Mary? Like, I think he should have maybe done this last week. Like, he
yeah,
should have got Say out last week because she was not expecting it, and he would have had Mary. He would have had the other girl, and
Steph,
he could
yep.
have, yeah, Steph, and he could have like what's the other guy? Justin? Oh my god, with these emojis. Justin, is that his name?
Yeah, I think so with the
Long
long
hair
hair.
guy. He was in the middle with him, so it's like they really could have just solidified something new. Brought Cedric in later, like Cedric would be on the bottom, and they still had the option for the boys' alliance, and then they also had the girls. So that was the time to do it if he was going to do it, I think. But I think he was trying to play because Say invigorated him. I think
Yeah,
Say is someone that he was looking at and he saw her play a lot, but also he saw the errors in her game so vividly. Like they were right in
right.
his face. And I think he just felt like if she can do all this, I'm not about to let her obvious game run circles around me. I'm not about to let her, like, with all these flaws, be able to put me in a worse position. And she's so chaotic that I think that's his impression of her, is that she's so chaotic and so aggressive with her gameplay that eventually she's going to cause herself and him to have like some issues. Like the tribe is gonna suffer as a result of it. I don't think he saw her go far. I think but I thought, I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure what he saw, what he thought. Because on one hand, I
Yeah.
don't think he saw her going far. I think he saw the flaws in her game, but then at the same time, I think maybe he did start to see, like, well, what if it's so crazy that it actually starts to work, and like these people are actually become loyal to her. So let me nip this in the bud. So I don't know. I'm torn as to where he was with his thought process.
Yeah, same. I'm not too sure why he wanted to get there so quickly. I don't know if I understood why he wanted to keep Mary because that's who he bonded with in terms of like having a number one. I
Mhm.
I, I don't think from this episode that Justin would have been his number one. It looks like Justin
Yeah.
and Cedric
Mhm.
are, at least
Yeah.
in their eyes, are each other's number one, right? And then like you have Cedric and Say being each other's like, number one. And so I think Kevin, like Justin was saying, right, like he is playing for day 28. And
Mhm.
although that is smart, it is still too soon. Say
Mhm.
is playing for today, tomorrow, right? Like Say is not necessarily, and I mean, she could be like in the background of her thoughts, but
Yeah, yeah.
her her forward statements, right, and like blunt remarks towards everyone in her, I mean, she's really confident. Like she say what she know, and she know
Yes.
what she's saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm, like, excited for her game, because
Yeah,
It's like it's always good to have a player with gumption. That's what you want in a
Right.
Survivor player. And so whatever their errors are along the way, you want them to kind of like be able to finesse their game so they can get to a space where they can utilize, like, harness that gumption and use it to like plow through the game. And so my hope for her is, like we said before, there's a little finessing of her game that needs to happen, and there's a little fine tuning things. I was very surprised that she kept it all together when Kevin told her. I was
With Cedric,
like,
yeah, yeah,
what?
yeah.
I thought it was the right move for him, but at the same time, I was so scared. And I'm glad that he prefaced it like he did. Can you
Can you
control
control
your
your
emotions?
emotions?
How do you feel that you can do? Because that's the that ding ding ding. That's the question right there.
Yeah, she said I could do it. I could do it,
He
and she
laughed.
did it. She did it, and she did it well.
He
Okay.
laughed. He laughed
Yeah,
when
he
she
did
said
laugh
that.
because he was like, "Girl," but at the same time, right? Like at that point, once Justin came up to Cedric and was like, "I think we should get out Kevin." It didn't really matter at that point if Say kept her composure or not because Cedric's whole point was, I don't want you to freak out because I still need to be in with the guys. And
Yeah.
if one of my guys is coming to me saying, let's just get out another guy, it doesn't matter at that point. So
Yeah.
I feel like at first Cedric was a little alarmed when Jesse came up to him and was like, Say is pointing out that Kevin, da 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 da. And Cedric's face was like, oh shit, did she just
I,
out my game? And
yeah.
it was like a sigh of relief came over him, and he was like, he's gonna pick us off one by one, so we might as well go ahead and get Kevin. And I was like, oh, thank God. Whew.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same because I didn't know where Justin was, where his loyalties were, and so like this was a good us seeing where Justin stood with things. Like that was a really good eye opener, because he was like a question mark for me. I didn't understand where he was. I'm like, good, you on the right
Yeah,
side, you on the right side, and like now I don't know what's about to happen with Mary in this
yeah,
dynamic because Mary is smart. I agree with you. She is smart. And I couldn't tell even with that journey, and we could talk about that in a second, but I couldn't tell, was that really a practice round? I didn't I do have it on recording, so I'll maybe look back at it, but I couldn't tell if that was really a practice round or if it wasn't. Like, could you tell?
yeah. I was a little lost. I was like, wait, was I not paying attention? Because I was like, practice round. Because I was
Yeah,
like, oh yes, when Say got it, I was excited for her. And then all of a sudden, here goes Kevin over here, like, no, 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 it's
yeah,
not.
no.
It's yeah,
Yeah, with Kevin, to be honest, like at the tribe, the challenge. At first, I was thinking he was sabotaging that thing because he wanted to go to tribal. I was like, "Do we have one of these? I want to go to tribal to get some people out type of person." But then I realized, like, no, they're trying.
they
they're
really were struggling. I mean,
trying.
it was a wipe out. I
Yeah,
was just like, is the challenge hard or are they just not the athletic bunch at all?
I just don't think that they paired that well. Like, I don't understand why they have Mary going first. Like, Mary should be the most motivated. And so they should have had her probably at the end with Kevin because I think in a
Yeah,
challenge like that or an exercise like that, you want two balanced people. And I mean, two cohesive people so they can communicate and work with each other. And then you also want somebody who's going to be very nimble and athletic on that balance beam. So I don't understand the choice to put Kevin at the end, period. Like Kevin should have been first. I mean, not Kevin,
yeah.
Cedric. Cedric should have been first. I didn't realize they were doing two sets of two. So when they did the two sets of two and Say went across with Justin, I was looking at that like, why would y'all have Say do this part? Because she doesn't seem like she's the most cohesive, you know, partner for that sort of challenge. So I felt like that could have been someone else. But then I realized the last four people were going to have to go through that and it didn't
Yeah,
matter. But they didn't have to have Mary first. So I think if they didn't have Mary first, I think Mary, she like a yoga girl. She could have done it. I think she could have done it. So,
possibly. Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
it didn't matter
I think the
for
guys just thought that they were going to be able to bring it on in, and they got a
maybe,
wake up call.
yeah, maybe that
So
was what
hopefully
was.
they strategize better next time.
But it was interesting that Kevin was not even like expecting it. Like he did the like little blinky thing, like his eye. He was just like his eyes
Yeah.
blinked like the meme. You know the meme I'm talking about with the guy.
He was, yeah, he was shooketh, okay?
He,
And I
yeah.
thought maybe he was catching on once because when Saint ate him up in tribal council, okay? I was like, bar for bar for bar for bar. Philly don't mess with her, okay?
So why and how am I outing you if we are voting
Are
her out?
already outed. Yeah, we already know what the obvious vote is. There is no out, my brother.
Yeah. So that was nice. But I felt a little bit bad for Kevin. I did, but not because I just felt bad for him because I felt like he's a gamer and he didn't expect it and he was starting to game and then it just blew up in his face. But at the
Yeah,
same time, it's like, bruh, like you tried to move on her and you gotta
yeah,
know the lay of the land before you start walking out there because you might step into a little coal mine, whatever, a landmine. So
yeah.
I
But the
was
thing is, though, like, you can't flip on the main alliance before you understand how the dynamics work in your alliance.
for sure.
And he messed up by doing that, and he would have went further in the game if he just would have said, you know what, I gotta let Mary go on this one
Yeah, and
because
I
now that
oh go ahead,
it's like
sorry.
now that we see that you're willing to already flip on one of us, right? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like, yeah, you gotta go, you gotta
Yeah.
go.
And that's why I really feel like last week was the week. Like if you were gonna do this, like you needed to be like going to start out with like, look, these are the people who I want to be with. She not in it. She not in it. And he was, like I said, he was the most hesitant with her, the most hesitant.
Yeah.
And it was like this, this is not a good move for you. But yeah, no. So I guess the idol's gonna go back into this tribe and they're gonna know I guess, yeah, they're gonna know how to get it again. But I guess it's about whoever finds it will be the owner of it this time.
Say gonna get it again. They're not playing with them idols.
Yeah, I know.
If
I
Say
just
don't get it, Mary might get it because Mary knows she's under fire, so she might be motivated to. I feel like Mary be the one to sneak out overnight as soon as the sun coming up and go look. She
yeah,
give me that vibe.
they were doing the babysitting of her, and then Mary Rant took off, and I was like, you saw it on the preview for next week.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
previews for the next year.
yeah, but one of the things I meant to mention in the last episode, two things I meant to mention in the last episode. One, Say calling them girls hoochie mamas. We never talked about that. I was like, the who this girl has the audacity. I was like, she just came out the gate. Hoochie mamas. These two hoochie mamas. They gone. It's not been a good. Oh, no, they're not gone. Mary's still here. Mary's still here. Mary's still here.
Mary, good child, Mary is on thin
On
ice,
thin
and what
ice, okay?
Say wants, Say is getting right now.
Yeah.
So
The second thing, though, that she said that I meant to talk about is how when she found that idol, she said, I have found my first hidden immunity idol. She didn't say hidden immunity idol. She said first. And so I said, I like the optimism. I like the thinking because she
yes,
assumes and feels that she's going to get another one. So that energy right there makes me feel like you're right. She's probably going to be the person to get the second one. But either way, they know. Well, if it's the same, they know how to crack the code. But
yeah,
apparently,
yeah.
it's all these different combinations because on one of the other tribes, the Orange tribe, it was a different
Oh yeah, it
word.
was
It was the same
enlist.
letters. Yeah, it was in list. And so I was like, okay, okay, they switching it up because when she said it wasn't listen, I was like, girl, try it again.
Right, 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 right.
Try it
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
And like,
yeah. Right, right. That's what I said. I said, did you know
yeah,
how to
I
spell
was like,
listen?
I was like, heck.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that's the Green Tribe. I don't even remember their name at this point. I don't really do the tribe names like that. I don't care. But
Yeah, yeah,
um,
but yes, definitely. So I am definitely after this episode. I was like, okay, Say. At first, I was like, I don't know if she gonna make it, but
she
she
might.
just she might she might. I'm like a little 50-50 on the border just because at some point, right? Usually these type of players don't last long. However,
Right.
I will say I was talking to somebody earlier about this. How like she is in comparison to me so much like Boston Rob, like in the type of gameplay. And so
Interesting.
I'm excited for a woman to come in with that aggressive gameplay and
Mhm.
see where it takes them, because usually the women who win, they have more of like a soft, like gentle approach, kind of like they just
Like
snuck around, right? Like they just slithered their way through, and like they had
or
like a
like a
social
facade.
game. Right. But they had like a really good social game. And so she is like a player. She
Mhm.
is outwit, out survive.
Ah.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't give me Boston Rob, but I see what you mean by the comparison in that like there is this aspect to him that is so in your face about it, but also like we were saying the last episode that he was more subtle, I think you said, or something about how
Yeah.
he did it a little bit more subtly. Um, but I think that with him, he's very, it's like they have this both mafia boss energy type of like vibe about them. And I think that's the similarity. But I think there's something very different in like Boston Rob's ability to persuade that I don't think she
Yeah.
has. I think she has a very, like, it's not, she doesn't have persuasive ability. And like she has bold and bold, like she has a bold attitude and she's got a lot of gumption, but I don't think she has the persuasive ability. I think she is just very bold to the point where it's people can be like, I don't want to say intimidated, but they can feel like a little, okay, well, I guess, we can do this, yeah, like let's do this, you got
Yeah.
a plan, I'll follow you. Like she's a leader, and that is I think, bold and nice to see in a woman, but he has the ability to persuade, and I don't see
Yeah.
that.
He do got that tongue. But
Yeah,
I don't know, the way Say was spitting at that tribal. I was like,
that was just comebacks though. Like that was she was
I
slicing and
know.
dicing. She
Yeah,
wasn't
she was. She
waiting.
was. She
I
was.
don't
I
think.
said, this is. Yeah.
I
You're right.
think
You're
the
right. You're right. You're right. You're
second
right.
the second these folks' game, except maybe Cedric, and then we'll see how Justin goes. But the second their game makes more sense in another direction, like she's not going to be able to persuade them to keep going with her. They are going with her because this makes sense and the most sense for them right now. And so I wonder how she'll be if she makes it to the merge. I wonder how she will be with these new people and getting new, folks together. Because right now, already, even if the four of them make it to the merge, they only have three. They're a team of three. Mary is going to be
Yeah.
looking for a lifeboat out of that thing as soon as she can. Like
Yeah.
she,
Absolutely.
she just is. And don't let them have like a tribe swap something.
Yeah.
Like
No. Honestly. Yeah. It's
who
over
knows
with.
what will happen from there. But yeah, but I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I will also say before we move on to the next tribe, I thought it was interesting that Kevin was like, "We're a weak team." I am anticipating that we will lose numbers. We are going to fizzle out first, and that was another thing we talked about. Like, they are going to probably dismantle the quickest of all
Mhm.
of the tribes, and when you are the losing tribe, it gives you less opportunity to even build team camaraderie because
Mhm.
you have to play all the time,
Yeah.
constantly thinking about next steps to make sure that you're staying, versus the other tribes get the opportunity to just kiki and get to know each other. So we'll see.
I
We'll
mean, I
see. I'm
think
just hoping that Kevin and Cedric make it to the I mean that Say and Cedric make it to the merge.
Yeah, I'm thinking though that like this is actually the best option for them because I think they are building a lot of trust and loyalty here in this tribe because they have to go through the fire. And so I think that, and they have a little cushion right now. They got Mary. So if they lose one more time, Mary's gone and they don't have to even think about that. And then when they get down to three, they probably would be shuffled again on another tribe. And so they will be able to, the three of them, I think they're in a good spot, the three of them, because
Yeah,
like
I can see that.
they're if they go on another tribe, then they get the opportunity to make good connections. Maybe people won't view them as big, as such of a threat, because they're going to be the lower number. Maybe they'll luck up and then they'll be able to bring more connections to their three. Who knows? Like, what was the season with Q and Tiff though the girl who won, I can't even remember her name, but you know what I'm talking about, like where they were the final, they were like three, it was just the three of them, and then they made it to almost the end. Q, the guy who was who was the coach, and he was like, horrible game, like he's nice, I guess, for a
Yes,
game.
yes, yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, yes, yes.
But the three of them were, I mean, aside from his antics, but the three of them were able to like be a tight group moving
They
forward, even
were.
though they had lost, and that built a lot of, I think, trust among them. So I see good things for them in the middle game. You know, as
Yeah,
long as they can hold out once that tribe swap happens, if they, I see good things for the three. Mary, her only saving grace for me will be if they do a tribe swap, or if like I don't even know, because she went on the journey, right, and she didn't even seem to make connections with those people there. She needs to be trying to make connections. It's
yeah,
not this tribe, it's not
yeah.
this tribe,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
who knows. So moving on to the purple tribe, we had the stars tribe. Like girl was down bad a little bit.
Down
I was
bad.
go to tribal because I knew homegirl was just not that it was just chaos. Star, Eva, and Joe. So Eva's the hockey player with autism, and Joe is the firefighter. And then there is Thomas, who's the music executive, who got knocked in the eye. I was like, that thing should
Yes.
be next episode, the preview. And then his road dog, Bianca. She doesn't talk
Yep.
much, but she's in the episode a little bit. Or we don't get her. She's not featured much, but she's in the
Yeah.
episode. But yeah, what were your, thoughts? There was a lot going on with Star. I felt bad for her. I felt bad for her.
Yeah, I did feel bad. Now I'm with you when you right, honey. And when Eva was like, so maybe Star can sit out, and she was like, don't tell me what I can't do. I was like, what I can and can't do. I was like, no, that's period though, cause
Yeah, no, I felt
don't.
that I felt that too. Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought that was that was, but it also may have been part of Eva's not having like the maybe picking up on certain social cues. She said, that those like that's not the necessarily the best thing to say to somebody, that you're not. We're gonna choose for you. And so I thought that was a little dicey conversation when she brought it up. But then I was like, oh yeah, that's probably what was going on though. She's probably just
yeah,
not recognizing that that's not probably going to be received well.
yeah. And I mean, as far as we know, nobody else except for Joe knows that she's on the spectrum. So
True, true. She didn't tell
there's
anybody.
also that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that disconnect.
But yeah, when she got when she found the Beware advantage, and I was like, that Atlanta came out, baby. She was like, yeah, baby, you talking about you ain't gonna get rid of me? Yeah, 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 yeah.
She was, she
Man, that
was.
made me come out, Gucci man.
Yeah, I know,
What you
right? I
talking
know.
about?
I was like, she must have been in America for a while. I know we talked about she was from
Yeah, yeah,
Liberia. She
yeah.
must have been here for a while. I don't know.
She's rooted in Atlanta.
I
Okay, I was
know.
like, that is A town.
I know she got the
Okay.
smoothie locks. I was like, homegirl. The dirty South, dirty South. No, the Liberia is like, she probably like, girl, I ain't seen Liberia since I was 1 years old. Um, but, but
Woo.
yeah, I felt bad for her, but I was like, when I heard her talk in the beginning, because they featured her a lot in the opening scenes, I felt like she is level headed. She's making sense in terms of what she's saying. She's just not a vibe for everybody. The only thing that I feel like is the problem with her game is she's trusting these people who she can't trust. But I guess she's
Right,
just in the space of realizing that, you know, if I can't trust anybody, if I can't do anything, if I have to trust somebody at some point, and maybe I try since I have this and I need help. And so it's like a hard place to be in, but it definitely was. I, I don't know if I would have told anybody. I think I would have tried to maybe make the connections first and then see how that went. And then if I felt like a conversation was kind of like, all right, maybe I'll tell you of this because I already know I'm setting up this artificial conversation because I know I'm going to want to ask you later. So I'm trying to build some rapport and have some conversations first. But she just jumped right in. She don't got a lot of finesse.
Yeah, and it was sad because it was like everybody, she just didn't know. Everybody was already connected to everybody in some
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
like before. And so I was like just cringing at the screen because I was like, just try to figure it out first
Hmm.
before you tell anyone. But
Yeah.
it's like it was like it was too late,
Yeah.
Like I feel like yes, you do want to gain some trust with somebody, and so you most players right when they find something, unless you're the person that's just not going to say anything at all, you do try to bring at least one person in on the fact that you have an idol.
If you need help, if you need
And
help, because I'm not a fan of giving people the information personally.
yeah, I'm not a fan of it either, but I'm saying like you see it a lot happening where they're like, okay, I need to pull someone in. This will help me like gain some trust with
Hmm.
somebody, and they use it as a way to, position themselves a little bit better in the game. But she just didn't know. She was ignorant to the fact that all of these connections had been solidified, not just made but solidified. And
Hmm.
so when she went over to Thomas, it was like I need help. And Thomas was like, I just want you to open up. And she immediately said, oh, yeah, I have the beware advantage. And then Thomas goes back to, what's his name?
Are you talking about
Other
Thomas or are you
guy.
talking about Joe? Because she
I'm
told
talking about
Joe first.
Thomas. Well, she
Okay,
told Joe first, yes.
okay, you're
But
talking about Thomas.
Thomas, the guy who, yeah, yeah.
So he went to
Thomas, the
Bianca.
one
I
who
thought
got
Bianca.
knocked in the eye.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you're saying when he went back to go talk to Shaheen, Shahid.
Yes, when he went back to go talk to Shaheen, right? And basically like told Shaheen to just throw out the code. I was like, she don't even know she plotting her own demise
Yeah,
by talking to all of these people.
I personally felt like if I was her, I would never have given anybody that flimsy sheet of paper because before Thomas thought about that, I thought about that. I was like, this man could lose it. But Shaheen, I wasn't even thinking about Thomas. I was like, Shaheen could just hide it and be like, I, I looked around and I didn't see it. It was lost. Blah blah blah. Like, there's an easy way to be like, you lost that flimsy sheet of paper, but like, it's right here. And like, you feign trying to the moment you discovered that it's missing. Like, you could do all of that. Like, wouldn't have given that sheet of paper. I would have been with him everywhere that he was. We don't need no lookout. We don't need no lookout.
Right.
I'm the lookout. I'm looking out at you. Like, I'm
Right,
paying.
right. We're about to figure this out together. One, so you can't sabotage me.
Yes.
Like, I'm not even going to give you the opportunity to go back and talk to somebody about possibly not giving me the code. I need your help so you can give me the code so I can get this open. So we finna stick together and figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is I, this is T, this is E. Like, I don't know why she walked off. I said, baby, have you watched the show?
Yeah, no, I was not a fan of that. But I really liked that Shaheen was like, "Psh, no, I'm not doing that. Made me gain some respect for him, and then it also downgraded Thomas in my book because Thomas was somebody that
Absolutely.
I was excited about last week because I was like, oh, he's gonna bring the tea. He's gonna be like, funny. He's gonna be him and that girl have a vibe. They're gonna, take off. But one, I don't see much of her in their dynamic in this episode, so I'm not sure. I'm sure they're still besties, but I'm not sure. I don't, I'm not developing these great bonds and feelings for these two castmates. But on top of that, I just feel like he's probably just going to be more messy, more villain than someone to root for. And so it'll be nice, I think, for the season as a whole to have someone who's willing to do kind of like whatever, but I that's not going to be I'm not going to be rooting for him, but not that he did the worst thing ever. It's not like I'm not trying to paint him out to be a bad guy. I'm just saying that I
Yeah.
was excited about him last week, and this week I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like, I think that there are other people who I'm more excited about. So
Yeah, he did have a good point when he was like, "Star shows why you don't come back and tell everybody everything." So him not telling them that he got there's still a vote. I was like,
Oh,
that was the
sure.
a great move. I definitely would have been. I'm like, y'all ain't learned to lie when y'all come back from these journeys.
Absolutely. I think for Mitch though coming back when he told the truth, I think that well, no, it actually did. It kicked him in the butt too. I was like, that did him favors, but I was like, no, that other group actually, started looking for the idol. Started, so yeah, he should have. And then I felt like that whatever he came back with, to be honest, like I know I'm switching tribes, sorry, but Mitch would have. They would have believed Mitch. I think they would have. I don't think
Yeah, they
he
definitely would have.
dishonest. I think they would have believed him even if he lied. So yeah, but back to this the purple tribe, I mean, and this journey that they took. um you know I was kind of like, oh wow, you have this block of vote. I wonder what you're going to do with it in the future, because he's the one that's going to cause chaos with it for sure, like for
Absolutely. And
sure.
he's gonna look around and be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But that makes the season good. It makes the season juicy. It keeps us on our feeds. So I am excited. He's definitely gonna throw the wrench in all of the plans. If nobody catches on to him first, I was surprised that nobody questioned him on not coming back with anything from the journey. Everybody was just like, "Oh, you lost your vote." I'm sitting here like, y'all believe this motherfucker? Like,
Nobody even had a confessional that was like, don't believe it. Like it was just nothing, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms
Yeah.
of social play, he's doing a good job outside of that moment that he had with Shaheen, where Shaheen was like, I don't know about this. I don't know if this happened off camera, but I was surprised that Shaheen didn't have a conversation with anyone on camera about that moment that he was questioning with
Oh,
Thomas, because then I feel like that would have led to questioning the idea of whether or not he was lying about coming back with no advantage. So, not really
mm,
sure. I'm hoping that was a
true.
conversation that happened, but I feel like if it did happen, that would be something that we saw. So who knows?
Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see it in the next episode. Maybe because maybe it'll become more relevant. Like especially if they go to tribal or something like that. And it's an easy way to edit that in. Like even if it happened basically before the tribal, but
Right.
it's an easy way to edit it back in to the next episode. But I like the fact that I love a player who's got a good spidey sense. And I'm not saying that he does. I don't. The jury's still out on that. But I like that he clocked that about Thomas, because that makes me realize that like, okay, you're paying attention and you're drawing conclusions from the information that you receive. And so if he does kind of open up his level of like skepticism towards Thomas, I'll be like, okay, Shaheen, okay. Like I'll like him more as a player, because those are the players I love the most. Like across all these games are those who can like peep stuff and like move accordingly. Like that is, I think, great, because there's a lot of other tools like persuasiveness we talked about with Boston Rob, but there's something about being perceptive that to me is a hallmark of a really good
Agreed.
player.
Agreed. So when they were in the challenge, and Eva, I mean, buckets, baby.
Oh
She
yeah,
was
she
hitting
was. She
them, yes, over and over
was.
again. And Thomas was like, "Do you want to switch?" And she said, "No." I was
Oh
cracking up.
really?
Baby said, "I got it." Did you see that part?
No, I didn't see that part. I mean, I didn't
Oh
notice
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, when
But
she kept shooting them in, Thomas was like, "Do you want
one,
to help?" She said, "No."
yeah. One of the things I wanted to say about Joe was that he was so smart to bring somebody else in when Star told him that, because I think, or at least I personally think it was a smart move, because I think he did not want to merge himself with Star. And
Yeah,
I don't think he wanted to connect anything in that department. And I think that him by bringing in Shaheen and just convincing her to say like, "Hey, I think we should bring somebody else in. Shaheen's really good at this," or whatever he said to her, and she was like, "Yeah, bring him in." I think that helped him to be able to like not. not be seen as any type sort of target, not have anything blow up on him, and really solidify a little bit more closeness with Shaheen, even, like, because like
Yeah.
eventually everybody knew, but if that
Right,
wasn't the
right,
case,
right.
the two of them would have really had, sort of like the secret,
Yeah, yeah.
that,
But it still did solidify the relationship with Shaheen because it was
Mhm.
like you thought of me enough. Before, of course, Star went and told everybody, but at
Yeah,
least prior to that, right? Like you thought of me enough to say something. And now
that was
that
true.
everybody knows, I'm also going to go and tell Eva what's
Yeah,
going on. So that also probably gave him some more points in that department. So
yeah, mhm,
socially, Joe is doing a good job. I was thinking a little bit like, is his emotions going to get in the way a little bit? Because as the season grows, we see this happen quite often for the people who are emotional players. Like they
yeah,
can't make the hard decisions sometimes, so they keep positioning themselves in the middle, and then they end up getting bowed out because you're not looked at the individual who's making any moves. You look like you're
mhm,
just scapegoating and doing what everyone says because you're trying to play the middle too much. So he's gonna have to at some point decide, like, when am I gonna rev up my game,
yeah,
instead of
yeah,
playing
yeah.
the fence.
And he seems too broken up about that decision. I'm like, it's easy.
Yeah,
You like, but I mean, ultimately,
I
he came on the side of Eva, and I think we all knew he would. But I was like, bruh, like you don't have a connection with Star. Like you broken up for it's okay. Like it's okay. But that's neither here nor there. So the Orange Tribe is who we have, Camilla, and we got Young Barack with what's his
Kyle.
name, Kyle. We have David, the stunt guy, and then we
Yep.
have Charity? Is that her
Yes,
name? Or
Charity. Yeah, I
Chastity?
was saying Chastity at first, but it's Charity.
Okay, Charity. Yeah, we was messing up with all the names. Call
So
him
sorry,
Joe
y'all.
Ben. Like we just
Right.
the whole first episode, we ain't get it, but we
It's
getting
not
it
even
right
a been
now.
on the show.
I know, but we straight now. Joe, we got Joe. But anyway, um, and then Chrissy is the Chicago PD or
Yes.
fire department, something like that.
Yes.
So thoughts on this tribe? I like Camilla and I like Kyle the most, and I think the whole season I like no maybe I like Say and and that duo equally.
Yeah, Say and Cedric.
No,
Yes.
not Say and Cedric. Cedric's cool, but Say.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think the duo of Camilla and um
Kyle.
Kyle.
Yes.
Like
I
that
think I
duo on
would
par with Say as well.
yeah, I would agree with you on that. Kyle found the beware advantage and immediately
Mhm,
pulled Camilla in as he should
mhm.
have. So yeah, I was like, yeah, Papa Bear, bring it on home. Meet up with your girl,
Yeah, I
and
know.
let's get it
Like,
done. I was slightly confused if he told anybody else that he got it though. It didn't seem like he did.
I don't. Oh, he found it with David, right? Yeah,
Oh, you're right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
And I was wondering, my mom was like, is he gonna, is he the one gonna get it, or is Dave? But he pulled it out, so it's his. But yeah, I like how I actually think he's kind of cute.
He is cute. He is very
Like
handsome.
he need a little haircut, but he's a nice looking guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so
you can clean him
I'm
up
like.
well.
Yeah, you could clean him up very well. Like is and so I wonder, like, is Camilla, like, is she married, or is it like,
Yeah, I saw the. I was thinking the same thing,
okay,
but so
because
I
I was
looked.
like,
She
okay,
had
this
the rubber
duo
ring. Yeah, yeah,
could get
yeah.
some synergy and get going, but okay, okay.
Yeah, she had on a rubber ring. I was
Sorry
like,
to
okay,
her
she's
husband.
married.
Sorry to her
Yeah.
husband. But yeah, I like her energy. I like her energy for this almost the same reasons I like Say's energy. She seems to have a lot of gumption, but also she seems to have a lot of finesse and
Yeah.
social, like, awareness in a way that maybe Say doesn't. We'll see. It can grow, but I think the more you play a game, the better you get. And so I feel like as the players grow throughout the season, they're gonna get they're gonna learn the game. You know what I mean? And they're gonna
Right.
learn it for what it is in under their feet at that moment. And so I see Say getting better, but that also means that good players who start off with good finesse, like Camilla, get better too. So,
Yeah.
but
She's
yeah,
also
she
very perceptive as well.
yeah. So I like their dynamic. I love it. I love her and Kyle. Just
Yeah.
that's my fave. David is funny, like, but he's also kind of like I stood up
Poor
to see like
nipples.
what is yeah, I was like, what? I stood up because I had my glasses on at first. And I was like, after that commercial break, I said, let me go find my glasses because like I need to be able to like see what's happening, what people are talking about. But
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
could see the marks,
he's a
but then
mess.
once he said they were removed, I was like, "Oh, okay, so they were
Okay, yeah. I'm
surgically."
like,
Yeah.
he's just a mess. Like, but there's something about him that's kind of funny, but he's also just a mess. Like, he's a mess. And then Charity was talking about her feet,
Yeah.
and like, okay,
They showed her feet too many times. I was like, "Y'all can keep these critters off the screen, please.
yeah.
We don't want to keep seeing the feet.
Yeah. But they
Please."
showed her more this time, and so I was like, okay, is she being, is there more of a tribe dynamic happening because she seemed to have more camera time? But at
Yeah.
the same time, towards the end, after we saw her and Mitch come back and say he got the block of vote, um, folks were seeing them as a pair, and we
Right.
started to be able to see, oh, they are somewhat of a pair. So
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I thought that conversation they had in the beginning when they were all talking about their insecurities or flaws or whatever, I was like, okay, Charity got to bond a little bit because it seemed like last episode they were seeing her more of like just playing too hard and not really wanting to get to know
mhm,
anyone. So it's and Camilla wasn't in that conversation. So I was like, okay, so she's bonding, at least with these three right here. Um
mhm.
but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how things go. Mitch brought in the win for them as well on the challenge.
Oh,
So
yes, he did, he
even
did.
though they who was it? David who kept saying like, "Oh, he might be a threat. I don't trust him." Um,
Mhm.
who knows if they'll get rid of him after he was able to pull in that win like that? Like, you gonna get
Yeah.
rid of the person who was scoring buckets?
But then he also has the block of votes. So it's like, which one matters more? Like they probably they I don't know. David seems a little confident in terms of like his prowess. And so, physical prowess. So I feel like he probably is like, I can handle whatever that guy's doing in the challenge, I can do it. We don't need him. I don't think they're gonna keep him for that. Like, not for no challenge.
Yeah, yeah,
That's once in every blue moon that they gotta throw some balls inside of a hoop. So I don't think that I think he it's gonna be is it him or is it Charity? Like who knows? And he's probably maybe like his threat level went up with that. But it was kind of like it's like, oh yeah, we're celebrating this block of vote. And it's like block what? Our votes?
right,
Like
right, 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 right. I was thinking like you could have, if you was gonna share something different. Share like if I don't know, all three of you make it to the merge, y'all have an idol or something.
yes. Yeah.
Not
And you
that.
gotta make up they gotta start making up something that's like just make up something that like it is a benefit to the tribe, but um just tell your person who's your person it's a lie. We don't we
Yes.
don't have it. We ain't got no tribe idol. We ain't got nothing. Make up something,
Something.
but I don't know. But it's like with this sort of thing, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't for the people who go. Because sometimes people come back, they telling the truth, and the people like, I don't think that that's all that happened.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think the way Thomas played it was the perfect way, or not even like the perfect way, just the tribe received it perfectly. Because
Right, right, right.
there have been plenty of people who come back and said they lost their vote, and people are like, I don't believe them. So
Yeah. Yeah. But to say you got a block a vote, like that only puts everybody else at a disadvantage. It only
yeah,
puts you at an advantage. So
yeah.
to
I
say
mean,
something like that, it was pointless.
except the only thing you can use it and say that, like, hey, this is something that I will be using for the tribe. This is not something I will not use this before we get
To
to
the
the merge,
merge.
and this will
Yeah.
be us as a tribe. So that's my pledge to you all. And so you say something like that, and then I guess it's more about like, are you going to keep to it? Or are you not going to keep to it? But either way, I think you got to say it. You got to say that.
Right, 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 right.
so,
Absolutely.
so yeah. But but yeah, I like this tribe. They're nice and happy go lucky. So you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
uh,
going into next week, advantages, we know that Thomas has a still a vote.
mhm,
Mitch has a still a vote.
mhm.
Um, Mary, well, she already lost her vote
Lost
on
her
this
vote, yeah,
tribal, so she
on this
should gain it
yeah,
back. Star has the beware advantage, but not the idol yet.
yeah. And so
Say
she don't have,
played her idol, so the idol will be back in play.
yeah,
Um, and Kyle has the beware advantage. Oh well, and they opened it, so
yeah. So
he
he
has an
hasn't.
idol.
Yeah.
Right.
What are your predictions for art? What's gonna go on next? Where you have any predictions?
I mean, probably that the Green Tribe is gonna lose again, sadly.
You think so?
Yeah, I hope that they don't, because I
I don't
just
think they're
want the
going
opportunity for Say to not have to play so hard and maybe to work on her social game a little bit.
to.
For a week, I want that opportunity for her.
Mm,
I wouldn't mind seeing Orange go to tribal and
mm.
just take off. I don't really. I mean, who
I feel like
they
that's gonna be a
probably.
boring tribal though, if that happens.
Yeah,
I'd rather
it will be a boring tribal.
I'd rather see purple. I'd rather see Star get that idol and then play it, and then
Yeah,
let's see who is going to go from this other dynamic. Like that's what I would like to see, and I honestly think that that's going to be the next tribal because they gave us so much purple tribe stuff that I thought purple was going home tonight, and so I think
yeah,
it's almost like a setup for they know purple's going to be good in the next story and important in the next story, and so they're giving us that background right now. So that's my prediction. Do you have any like a top player for you? You already said Say, and you said
Camilla.
you
It's
also Camilla. Like,
Say, Camilla, then Kyle. Those would be my top three in that
okay, we're
order.
on the same on that then.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
on the same page with that. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll say. Well, I guess we're
and
like,
then Shaheen. I would
oh,
put Shaheen up there too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, we got to see. He's rising up for sure. But yeah, I don't. You have anything else? Any other thoughts on the show as a whole? This episode as a whole.
No, so I guess that's it, y'all. Again,
Yeah.
we are Black Girls Talking TV. We'll catch you on the next episode. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can stay tuned to all of our recaps. We are at Black Girls Talking TV on TikTok and Instagram, so make sure you give us a follow.
All right. Bye.
Bye.